What up, my good people? Hope you're doing well on this Monday night. It's been a minute. It's been a while. We took some weeks off. We're ready to get things rocking and rolling because there's a lot of things happening in the world of sports. A lot of things that we need to discuss, give our opinions, hear from you. Yeah, a lot of sports happening right now. We got college baseball, March Madness, spring ball is getting ready to start. And today started free agency. What's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers? Will he go to the New York Jets? Will he stay in Green Bay? Or will he trip down like Green Bay? So we got a lot of things we're going to talk around tonight in the show. Love to get your responses. Chris is live down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I'm here in Columbia, South Carolina. Welcome to the Miller's Edge. Yep, Christian, it's here now, man. Free agency is live and kicking. The Panthers have shown their card, traded up to get the first pick. DJ Moore, your former teammate, traded to Chicago. Very steady player for the Panthers over the years, 1,000-yard receiver. Rather than have a great quarterback, Cam, in Charlotte, but he's a solid receiver. He's going to Chicago for a number one pick, going back to Carolina. Many people think it's going to be between C.J. Stroud. Most people are saying C.J. Stroud right now, Bryce Young, and even Anthony Richardson. His name has popped into that conversation. So we'll get in some of that. We'll talk some March Madness. I know people feel like Clemson got snubbed. We'll talk about that a little bit. And of course, spring ball is getting ready to kick off and some other things. So that's where we're at. C. Mill, what's up?
Man, it's just moving and getting my houses, the one I'm moving in, trying to get that all prepped and do the little repairs I need to do, and then also trying to get my other house ready to put on the market. It's been kicking my ass a little bit, but we're back on here. But other than that, everything's good. Everything's good. We're rolling and ready to kind of get back in a routine.
Well, the other day, the big news, of course, breaking news, the Carolina Panthers trading with Chicago for that number one pick. We all felt like the Panthers were going to take a quarterback in the first round this season, being that they really don't have anybody. Baker Mayfield didn't work out. Sam Darnold came back, did okay. I'm drawing a blank of the other kid that started some, but that's not the guy that they want. None of those guys are the guy that they want to take them into the future. So they're going to go into the draft. Frank Reich, the new head coach, he's somewhat of the quarterback whisperer. Now that's the guessing game. Who are they going to take? Will it be Bryce Young? Will it be C.J. Stroud of Ohio State? Will it be Anthony Richardson of Florida, a guy that we've seen the talent. We've seen him when he's good, he's good. But when he's bad, he's putrid. But nobody would ever thought that this kid would be talked about as the overall number one pick in the draft. No doubt what he did at the combine was phenomenal. The broad jump, setting records, a vertical, running a 4.4, 245 pounds, 6'4". I mean, the dude is a stud. Socks, jocks, and T-shirts. We get that. But on the tape, which is what I go by, I just don't see that. So that being said, for me, I think Frank Reich, the quarterback he's kind of used to, and the offense he likes to run, I see it personally more of a C.J. Stroud fit more so than Bryce Young. That's just my opinion. Although I would take Bryce, obviously, but knowing how Frank Reich coaches, knowing the guys he's coached before in the past, I see him taking C.J. Stroud out of Ohio State. I think that's the direction they will go unless they trade that pick with Houston, who we all know loves Bryce Young. So if Houston is somewhat afraid that Carolina might take Bryce, maybe they work out another trade with that number one pick. So there's 45 days or so, whatever it is, before the draft. A lot of things still can happen.
Yeah. I'm in agreement with you. I know there's a lot of, buzz around Anthony Richardson right now, and that's going to happen. You got a guy, 6'4", 240 plus pounds, have a combine like that. And yeah, he did throw the ball tremendous at the combine. He tested, exceptionally. But it's one of those things where, and I think most of these scouts will do the same thing with the number one pick. I mean, you want proof over potential. And at least for the quarterback position. Now, defensively, we see it all the time. You know, they go off of potential. You have a defensive end who didn't have much production in college, but the guy's 6'6", 260 pounds, runs a 4.4. They'll go for potential. They'll go for potential in that instance. But for a quarterback at the number one spot, I mean, you want a guy that's going to come in and turn your franchise around. And I think Anthony Richardson is definitely intriguing. I mean, how could he not be? You know, he has every measurable possible. I'm hearing that he's, you know, going into these meetings and he's blowing teams away on the board, and it sounds great. But you always say it, film doesn't lie. You turn on the film, there's just so many question marks. You know, if the guy is this talented, you know, how does he struggle at times at Florida? You know, granted, he might not have the options, the receivers, the weapons. You know, Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud might have, but still, just sometimes you know, balls in the dirt, the accuracy is just not there. I just don't see a team going for him at the number one spot. I do see him in the top 10, however, because the team definitely probably will likely pull the trigger on him then. But in terms of who the Panthers would take, I do feel that they're kind of torn between C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, and that's why, as you just were alluding to the fact that they are open to trading back. And we all know this, you know, Fitt's probably the most aggressive GM out there. They're aggressive trading up for the number one spot. They gave away DJ Moore, the number one receiver, a guy who a great young talent who had, you know, so much success. It was kind of like the second coming of Steve Smith, so to speak. They were, you know, willing to give him up for this pick. So I think they have options. I think they're kind of leaning C.J. Stroud, but they can't help themselves but consider Bryce Young, and I don't blame them. You know, if I'm a team, I'm going for a guy that is proven that is an exceptional talent, but also he's done it on a consistent basis. That's exactly what Bryce Young has done. We're talking about a guy consistently a winner. You know, he has that moxie about him. Yeah, he doesn't have the biggest stature, but he plays a lot bigger than his size. You know, he always has been one of those guys where he's going to go out there and you know, give you a chance to win. He's going to make those plays when you most need it. And it's just to me, I really feel like Bryce should be the number one pick, but unfortunately, I have a feeling that C.J. Stroud might be number one. But regardless, going number one or number two, I think Bryce is going to have a tremendous career. But I'm with you. I'm almost thinking the Panthers might go C.J. Stroud, and then Texas probably Bryce Young. But I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Richardson's not far behind those two.
I mean, he's going to be a top 10 pick. I mean, because somebody's going to look at all that potential and say, you know what, we don't have to play him right now. He can sit back and learn from a veteran quarterback. I think he's going to benefit from that rather than being asked to jump in there and play right now. I mean, the guy, I mean, 24 touchdowns, 15 interceptions last year, not horrible. I mean, still close to 2-1 touchdown interceptions. But the problem is, there's just some raw moments. There's some issues where I just see him struggle. I mean, throwing balls in the dirt, just not really, you know, performance. Seems like he has trouble sometimes reading the defense. So I don't see the Panthers and the need that they have for a quarterback right away, a guy that they may have to play right away. I don't see that being Anthony Richardson. So I think he's out of the fold. I mean, the guy's a 53% passer. The Panthers need somebody that can come in right now and play. And yeah, I mean, that's reaching for any of these rookies. I mean, it's hard for any rookie to come in and play quarterback. I mean, it just is. So I don't know if any of these guys will come in and give them that juice, that burst that they want. But Richardson definitely he's further down the line. I think probably Will Levis would be better suited to play for them right away, more so than Richardson, in my opinion. I know a lot of people are down on Levis, but Levis, if you go back 2 years ago now, he was lighting it up before he did. You know, this past season he had a bunch of injuries. He was hurt. He's banged up, beat up, and his numbers went down obviously. But this dude could play. I mean, he's another a freak. I mean, the dude's 6'3", 6'4", rocket arm. I mean, make all the throws. He can run with the football. So he's a top talent. But when you look at the two, Bryce Young, when you compare Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, I mean, Bryce, everybody talks about what? The size. He's 5'10", 180. He measured at the combine. He weighed 204 pounds. I listened to Mel Kiper, and Kiper's like, hey, man, you know, I think he probably, you know, ate a bunch of Happy Meals and double quarters with cheese to get his weight up. But he's probably a 190 guy. Maybe. Who knows? We know he's been training. They maybe put up some more muscle mass. I mean, you know, everybody's concerned and worried. Oh, I don't know if he can withstand the blows. Can he take the pounding? And I was telling the guy today, and I'm like, what are you talking about? What are these people on TV talking about? I mean, the guy played in the SEC. The SEC is known for their defensive line and very physical brand of football. He played 2 years, a lot of football games, 47 games he played, something crazy like that, maybe. Uh, 30 something games. I mean, the guy, and now you go talk about going to the NFL where they overly protect the quarterback. They're not gonna let you get hit. I mean, they're throwing flags if you sneeze on a freaking quarterback. So people, I don't know if he can take the pounding. What pounding? Bryce Young is not Lamar Jackson. He is not a runner. Yes, he can run. He is very fast. He is very elusive on the open field. You watch him, he can juke people. But that's not who he is. Bryce Young is a thrower of the football. He wants to take the ball down the field. Even when I used to yell and scream watching the TV because I wanted him to take off and run for first down. But he will sit back there and run around in the pocket and be Houdini and Patrick Mahomes like, right? He'd do all these different things before he would take off and even run the football. So I'm not even the least bit concerned about Bryce taking a pounding. That's in the NFL today. It's like 7-on-7 with pads. That's it. He ain't worried about him taking a pounding. You're not gonna ask him to run the football like Jalen Hurts. He's not Jalen Hurts. Jalen needs a big body to squat 700 pounds because he runs it. He runs it with a physical brand. Bryce Young can run it when things break down, but he get down, he slide, give himself up, blow the whistle. Be a smart runner. So the whole size thing doesn't bother me today like it does some people. It makes zero sense to me. I mean, because the way the game is played now, spread out, wide open, they're gonna throw it all over the field. So, but to understand what Frank Reich, how he's coached, it just seems like to me it will be more of a CJ Stroud guy. Bryce will be with somebody that's going to spread it out, quick passing game, screens, kind of even like what San Francisco doing, having a Deebo Samuel type player with them. I mean, he's accurate. He can make every throw. I think he's the best quarterback in the draft, despite the size. I mean, but I do think he possessed some of the skills that Patrick Mahomes does. I mean, he can make crazy throws. He can do the no looks. He can do all these different things. So, it's just based on what Carolina wants. I mean, I think the best way for them to win is have a good, accurate quarterback. I think they need a veteran quarterback first. If they're going to compete, I don't think they can win with the one. If it's Bryce or CJ, I don't think they can win right now with that guy. I think they got to go get a veteran guy and let these guys sit and learn, and run the football. I think that's what play good defense. I think that's the way they win now. But if they're saying, "Hey, build your brand. Let's bring a rookie in here. Let's go with it." I think they're going to have some struggles because most rookies are going to struggle. So it'd be interesting to see. That's why I was a little bit shocked that they didn't make a hard pass at Derek Carr or the guy that just went to the Raiders today from San
Jimmy
Francisco. Yeah,
Garoppolo.
Buffalo, and I thought they would make a run at one of those guys and still draft a
Well, they
young guy.
should have. Well, they should have because I mean, right now the NFC South is kind of wide open, right? Tampa Bay's rebuilding. Tom Brady's gone, Leonard Fournette gone. It seems like they're trying to start fresh, get a lot of young guys in there. Atlanta's still trying to figure themselves out. It seems like, and then you look at the Saints. They look on paper like the team to beat right now. I mean, they just signed Derek Carr. But really, I think the Panthers, their defense, they've been building that defense for a while. Their defense is a very stout defense, stellar defense. They've got some new coaches in there. So I agree. I mean, they probably should have gone after a veteran or somebody that really could have gave them a chance because I think this is the year right now they can kind of reestablish themselves back in the NFC South. And maybe one of those rookie quarterbacks can help them do that. I mean, that's to be determined. But the other thing I was going to ask you was the Bears obviously traded away from the number one pick. That shows their trust in Justin Fields. They want to give him an opportunity, a fair shot. Do you feel that because we know he's a very talented guy, but do you feel like that was the right move? That it's fair to give him a shot. I definitely think so. I look at you see what a guy like Jalen Hurts. You put some great receivers around him, give him a good system. You see what he can do. You look at like a lot of young quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, you give him Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Not saying taking away anything from Joe Burrow, a tremendous talent, but you look at how much better he plays when he has those weapons. Do you feel like that's a situation we're going to see out of Justin Fields in Chicago that look, this guy just needs some weapons around him. First, we need to get him an offensive line and protect him because, I mean, the guy's not going to last in the league if they don't do that first. But do you feel like them getting DJ Moore, maybe drafting another receiver, one of those picks, giving him some options, do you think we'll see him transcend and take it to the next level and ultimately help turn the Bears around? Because I think I heard this on Skip and Shane. I think they were saying DJ Moore, who has over 5,000 career reception yards, if he was with Chicago during that time, he would have been Chicago's all-time leading receiving leader, which is crazy. The Bears have been around forever, but that's the type of talent they're getting in DJ. So, what do you think? You think Justin Fields is going to take that next step now that he has some weapons like DJ Moore and probably somebody coming through the draft?
Yeah, Justin Fields' problem was not Justin Fields, but it was the coach. He had no coaching. He had a horrible offensive scheme. I mean, like you just alluded to, we saw what Jalen has done, and to be real, Justin Fields is a much more talented athlete and player than Jalen is, in my opinion. I mean, so if you give him the right offense, you put the right players like a DJ Moore and some other guys, give him another a wide receiver 2 and 3, a tight end. I think they might already have a tight end, backs that can catch the ball out the backfield. I mean, Justin Fields is dynamic. I mean, this dude.
Yeah.
He's Anthony Richardson to me with a rocket arm too. So I think that's why people are loving on Anthony Richardson, because they've seen some things like what Justin Fields have done, right? So I think Justin Fields is going to be his ceiling is very, very high. I mean, and so I think getting DJ Moore, using those draft picks to get some other dudes offensively, playmakers. I think Chicago got an opportunity to be extremely, extremely good. But I thought the last couple of years the coaching staff was terrible. I mean, they didn't have to do it at all. I mean, he was out there just backyard football, running around trying to make throws, running for his life. The offensive line gave him no protection. I mean, yeah, I think this was great. I think Chicago won in this trade, and I think they won big time. They get a receiver, they get Justin Fields some help, they get draft picks, they win. I mean, they still get a chance to maybe get Will Anderson or things work out with the whole court situation with the guy, Carter from Georgia. So they still
Carter.
They still may be able to get the guy that they really wanted anyway, but further down. So
they need front seven help. They need help on both sides of the line of scrimmage, offensive line, but also defensive line is a huge need of theirs. But no, I agree. Engineer from Big Noon Sports, he's a big Bears fan, so he's always giving me the rundown, and he runs a Bears podcast. But I think they definitely have a great chance of getting one of those front seven guys they need in the draft. But they also have more draft picks to get a good receiver. They probably can get one in free agency. I don't know if you saw, but they were aggressive, man. Today they signed 2 linebackers, TJ Edwards from the Eagles, and they signed Edmonds from the Bills.
Yeah.
Two young, really productive linebackers. So I mean, they spent a lot of their free agent money already on 2 linebackers. So they're investing in their defense, which in turn is actually helping Justin Fields realistically. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I like what the Bears is doing, and I think today it's free agency opened up. Everybody had their eyes on what was going on, but the Bears very aggressive, taking care, some spots on defense at the linebacker position. Of course, they lost. Of course, I'm drawing blanks again. The middle
Roquan Smith, which makes no sense. Why didn't you just keep Roquan if you're going to pay? I mean, they probably paid close to $100 million. I feel like in total contracts between the two guys. I don't know why you wouldn't just keep Roquan, but
Roquan wanted to be out of there, and I think they knew that, so they found a place for him, and with the Ravens, and so it is what it is. I mean, that's the nature of the business. Now they got 2 other dudes they're going to draft. I mean, think about it, they get an edge guy in Will Anderson or Carter, a young guy with those veteran linebackers. I mean, listen, they're gonna find their help that they need at the receiver position. I think Chicago, and when you think about being wide open like the NFC South, what about the Central? I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with Mr. Hallucination. He might be out of Green Bay and gone to Minnesota. They kind of,
Oh, well, they're saying it's pretty much a done deal to the Jets, at least Trey Wingo. And I thought he's a pretty credible guy, but he says it's pretty much a done deal with the Jets. They just had to get it all
well, they met,
signed,
they
sealed,
met
and
me.
delivered.
He did meet with them. So listen,
Mm.
this would be great for the Jets. The Jets got every other thing that they need. I mean, they got a running back, they got an offensive line, they got some good receivers. The defense with C.J. Mosley, Sauce Gardner out there I
Yeah,
mean, the Jets got
Quentin
everything.
Williams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Quentin
they all
Williams.
three levels. Yeah, all three levels are solid.
Everywhere they got dudes. I mean, the Jets are a quarterback away from being excellent, I think. And if Aaron Rodgers can come in and if Trey Wingo is right on this one, and it sounds like he may be, if he can go there and give them three quarters of who Aaron Rodgers used to be, they will be a dangerous football team in the AFC East. I mean, they really. I mean that division now. Think about it. You got Josh Allen in Buffalo. You have Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. The tour is going to be in this fifth year with Miami, with those two wide receivers, with those two corners Miami got, and
Oh
the
man,
Mets
he's got
go in
Jalen
Houston.
Ramsey. Yeah, man, Miami's loading
Yeah.
up too.
So
Mhm.
the AFC East could get really interesting if, in fact, again, Aaron Rodgers saying that hey, he should know something pretty soon. I wouldn't be shocked if we hear something tomorrow that he is. Again, I guess they're trying to figure out compensation. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is due $60 million. I think $59 million.
Mm.
That 3 year, 150 that he just signed. So I mean, Greg, God, I mean, geez. But I think it's the right move, to be honest with you. Green Bay can move on. They can, hey, we're done. We, reconcilable differences. See you. Appreciate all you done. Appreciate the Super Bowl. Now we drafted a kid, Jordan Love, years ago. They feel like he's ready. He's been sitting behind A. Rodgers. And, they say, hey, his teammates said he's ready. So I think right now, this is the right time if they can work out the monetary deal with the funds and who gets what in this trade. I mean, if you're Green Bay, you just say, man, you should just be happy Aaron Rodgers is leaving. I mean, this dude has held them hostage for 2 3 years. I mean, so I'll be like, hey, just take the dude, take his contract. We don't even need no players. Just take him, take this $60 million, and you know what? We'll move on, and we both win.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, it seems like this has kind of been a long time coming. They've been kind of button heads for the past 2 years, I feel like. But I think it is time for a clean slate for both sides, and it seems like that's probably what we're going to get here. I'm going to switch over to basketball real quick. My Alabama guys just won the SEC tournament after being named the SEC regular season champs. Did you expect that? I mean, I know a lot of people expected that in number one seed, but I mean, did you expect them to do it in the fashion that they did it? I mean, they were beating teams by double digit points. They won the championship game by double digit points against the Texas A&M team, who beat them pretty good last time they faced them. So, what was your thoughts on the SEC tournament in general, but also on Alabama taking it home?
Look, you know, I was so happy that what Alabama did. I mean, I was extremely proud of the Alabama basketball team after what they've gone through uh, this season with the Brandon Miller situation, the Darius Miles, all the stuff that they had to encounter, the questions even this week, last week, I should say, at SEC tournament play in Nashville. The way they came out and won, they struggled some in early games shooting the three, but they got things going. And basically blew out a team that I thought might have the best chance of beating them was Texas A&M team that I think was a dark horse. But yeah, man, Alabama, I love the fact that they won regular season tournament champions. Now my Gamecock women's basketball team, Coach Don Staley, they got things done as well. 32-0 right now. So man, as a Gamecock fan and as an Alabama fan too as well, shoot, this basketball tournament going to be pretty awesome. I think that Alabama's, I wouldn't be shocked if Alabama wins it all. I mean, they're going to play their games in Birmingham, right? The first couple of rounds are going to be played in Birmingham. It's going to be like a home game for them.
Yep.
I mean, Brandon Miller is amazing. I mean, the dude can shoot the three. He's playing physical now. He's using his body. He's, taking contact and still getting shots at the rim. He can dribble drive. He can pick and pop. I love the pick and pop with the three. He's long. Dude, I mean, he's just an amazing player. I mean, and then he got all the other pieces, you know, Quinley and all these other guys that surround him, the bigs. They got every position stacked. So there's no reason Alabama should not win the national championship. Now we know it's the March Madness, anything can happen. We're always going to have upsets, and you're not going to have your game one night. And if you don't have it one night, you're going to play another really good basketball team. You get bounced. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to win a national championship in basketball. Abs just came out of a brutal SEC tournament playing good basketball teams. So, hopefully they get the rest, get their legs under them, and you're going to be playing. The first couple of rounds you expect them to get through. You might, if you want to have sloppy play, you want to do that early when you got some cupcakes, which they'll get a winner of a play-in game. They should win that one. That's 32. They should win the next one. That should be the Sweet 16. And now you need to have you get ready to play, because now you're gonna get some big boys. So I think they get to the Final Four, and then we'll just have to see what they do. But to answer the question, I'm not shocked. I mean, this team got talent. Everybody, even all the experts, the pundits, have said this is the best basketball team in the country. Now they don't always play like it, because if they're not shooting a three, not hitting that three, it gets a little questionable. And we've seen that they had to come from behind, lately, not against A&M, but some other games, they had to come back and win. But they've shown the ability to do that too. I like the team. I like Coach Nate Oates. I think he's an excellent basketball coach. He lets them play. He's not yelling and screaming at his players. I feel like they had the freedom, to go out and do some things, and to play loose and have some fun. But they put the hard hats on. That's what's going to win the championship, is the hard hat mentality, because you're going to have to play some great defense. You're going to have to grind. You're going to get a senior-laden basketball team that's got a lot of, veteran players on it. Those are the guys give you trouble in this tournament, because they've been playing together a while. Alabama's going to be prepared to face these types of teams where they're going to slow the game down and not let them get out in transition and run. So they got to be able to play that hard hat mentality style of basketball. If they can do that, I think they have a chance to win it all.
Yeah, and I think they will do that, just because, I mean, we always talk about it, teams take on the identity of their coach. That's exactly what they've done. Nate Oates is the epitome of the, blue collar guy, hardworking guy. And that's what he emphasizes to his guys. And you hear it every time they're doing interviews. They always talk about, playing aggressive, playing physical, putting on that hard hat, blue collar type of basketball. And I think that's what's really gotten them to this point. I mean, yeah, we see how electric they are offensively, how they're able to score the ball, especially when they're shooting it well. But really, their defense is elite. And that's really what sets up a lot of this stuff. And I think really the key to them is just to keep their shooting going and play that elite defense that they can, crash the boards. And realistically, I agree. They should win it all. But you just said it. It's March Madness for a reason. It's mad. Anything can happen. And, I just, the only thing I worry about is just when you have that number one next to you, just for whatever reason, it's almost like this stigma that you know what I mean? Like, I look at it like, I played in 4 straight national championship games. The 2 that I lost, we were number one, right? 2015, we lost to Ole Miss. We went into it. I can't remember where we were, but we weren't number one. 2016, we were undefeated in the regular season. We were the number one seed, and we lost the championship game. 2017, we lost to Auburn. Final regular season game, winning, I think, number 4. Barely got in the playoffs. Won the national championship. My senior year, we were undefeated regular season, just like 2016. Ended up losing. I think we should have been number one seed unless we were number 2 and Clemson number 1. But anyway, it was one of those things where that's the only thing I worry about. Huh?
Y'all were number 1.
Yeah, I was pretty sure we were. I couldn't remember, but yeah, we didn't play like it in that championship game. Unfortunately, we got our ass handed to us in San Francisco. But that's the only thing I worry about. Sometimes when you have that number 1 next to you, you get everybody's best game. You got a lot more pressure on you because of the expectations. But I think they're well built. I mean, this team has been dealing with a lot this year, all types of pressure. You name it. Yeah, I mean, I think they're able to manage it well. They got a great coach and Nate Oates, who's helped them prepare for this moment. They're a young team, but they don't play
Yeah.
like it. You know, they play a lot older. They play a lot more mature than their age, and I'm excited to see what they can do in the tournament. I can just tell you one thing: if Alabama wins a national championship in basketball, there's no more debate. You know, we're the number one championship school. We already are because we're so good at every single sport, but. I mean, this solidifies it because I mean, I don't remember. I'm sure Alabama had some good years. I can't remember. There you know, some, but in my time
But
being around here, I mean, we were used to barely even making NIT and then losing the first round of NIT. Now it's like, we're winning SEC championships, number one seeds. Like, we're not accustomed to this. So we can win the national championship in basketball and just won the national championship in football just 2 or 3 years ago. Man, look, man, y'all, you got to crown us. I mean, come on now,
yeah, I mean, what
football,
other than
basketball. I mean,
baseball? Alabama ain't done it in baseball. They done. I mean, you probably
we
won
haven't lost a
gymnastics.
game yet. This gymnastics is one. What do you mean golf? Our golf team, softball. Come on, man. Like golf, softball, football, now basketball. We do. We got it all, man. Like, championship school for a reason, man. I'm telling
Well,
you. And
that being
basketball.
said,
We need
speaking
basketball. That's what we need.
speaking of championship, well, we definitely got a couple of basketball down here. It is the women's Gamecocks women's basketball team won the national championship last year. Coach Dawn Staley and the young ladies got things done. Really, they went had a heartbreak loss 2 years ago. Liv Boston misses a putback. I guess it was Stanford. I guess it was. Should have won that year, and then the COVID year, then they canceled. We were undefeated, I believe. Should number one in the country, would have won it that year, but now Dawn Staley has got an opportunity to take this team back to back. They went through the season. Think about this: they beat top teams all season long in regular season, including Stanford, so the UCLA's. They played everybody. I mean, Dawn Staley weren't afraid to play anybody in the regular season because it prepared them when they got in the SEC undefeated. They go down to up to Greenville, South Carolina, where the tournament was, smashed everybody. LSU thought they wanted that smoke. They came here to Columbia and got smoked.
Yeah, they
What's
did.
that coach name? What's her name?
I don't
I
remember.
forget the name. Whatever. Never heard of it. But anyway, she came from Baylor. I think she's going to challenge Dawn Staley the SEC.
Hey,
She
they were
got
undefeated though. They were undefeated for that matchup.
yeah.
So
Until,
she
they
doing
played
something right.
till they
So they
played
played,
South
yeah.
Carolina. They were undefeated till they
Right.
played South Carolina, and then they just lost again to Tennessee. And Tennessee ended up playing South Carolina for the SEC championship game, and they got that smoke. I mean, so once again, I don't think Dawn Staley has to lead the state of South Carolina in the NCAA tournament until the Final Four. I mean, that's a huge advantage. So
Well, let me
what I'm
ask you
saying
this
is
though. Let me
they're
ask you this though.
undefeated.
I
They got a
mean,
chance to win. They've got a chance to do something special. That senior class has been amazing. Zy Cook, Aaliyah Boston, uh, Thompson. She's from Lexington. She's been so just patient. Don't get to play that much. Very valuable in practice, giving them looks. I mean,
well,
LA.
let me ask you this though. I mean, so what is Dawn? I mean, because you know Dawn Staley. I feel like I probably met her a couple of times, but you probably know her. I mean, what is it that she does that just really makes that program so special? I mean, she's obviously doing something right. I imagine, she's recruiting well, she's developing well. I mean, she's winning games, but I mean, we're talking about, I mean, the success that she's having, that program's having. We're talking about, like, I mean, she could potentially be. I know there's a couple women's coaches that are viewed as like best coaches of all time, but I mean, I think she's establishing herself in that category. Because again, I always look at, I look at someone's success, but I also look at the consistency. Can they sustain that success? It's like that's how I view Coach
Yeah,
Saban.
they've
That's
been
why
doing
he's
it.
so high. And you look at her. I mean, she is sustaining this. I mean, elite success with this program. And
Well,
I'm just curious, like, what is she doing there? Like that makes her team so special on a consistent basis.
she recruits, and she's got McDonald All Americans up and down that bench. And when you get great players, you know this better than anybody because you played at the football, uh, you know,
Mecca.
brand that everybody wants to be, that brings in the best players, and you got to be able to coach these guys, push these guys, get the most out of these guys, but yet at the same time, when guys are not starting, you know, accepting roles and working their way and being patient when you coaching 5 stars and great players. Well, Dawn Staley has to do the same thing right now. I mean, because
Right.
most in the day with young people, they don't want. I think they had a girl last year. She didn't get to play as much as she wanted to. Boom, she's out. She went to NC State. Probably wish she had stayed, but young people don't want to be patient and wait. Or in basketball, just having a role, and your role may be coming off the bench. Well, her bench gives them a ton of production, a ton of production. They would not be where they are if it wasn't for the bench. So she has got them to believe in the championship model, the process of waiting your turn, the process of understanding your role and maximizing the opportunity. Those young ladies do that, and they're not hating on one another. They're not mad with each other. They're not doing that. They have accepted their role, and some of them have more valuable roles than others. Some of them role might be more valuable in practice. Those young players, because they know they're going to get their turn. And as you know, when you're playing with great players and when you're not starting, but you're practicing against those great players, it makes you great. It makes you better. And when you get on the floor, you're not out there like a deer in headlights. You're comfortable because you practice against these kids every day, these players every day. So Dawn Staley has done a magnificent job in that. They play great defense. They're long. I mean, it's hard. I mean, they got trees in the paint. They're not a great outside shooting team, but they got athletes. They play great defense. They like to get in the transition. They like to run. But they can knock down shots. She's a little streaky at times, but she can knock down shots. They have other players that can knock down a three at times. But listen, you better have some length. You better be able to defend. I mean, they're tough out. I mean, they are going to be a tough out. They are 10 deep. I mean, so South Carolina is unanimous #1, and their second team is #2. I mean, their second five probably could be a top 10 team. And so they're
Yeah.
just absolutely fun to watch. I mean, again, they got to play their best basketball when they got to build, you know.
Right.
And then, to get to, you're going to see a Stanford or see, a Maryland or some of these teams, Iowa. Everybody wants to see Iowa play South Carolina. They got that sharp shootout there in Iowa. But this is a basketball team. I think they're determined. They got great leadership on this basketball team. Boston, these girls, L.A., Zai Cook, all these. Bree has done an outstanding job. She's a defender.
Right.
Don't get the love that she deserves. I mean, they got a 6'7" player. I'm drawing a blank right now that comes off the bench. I mean, has been phenomenal as of late. I think she won a Sixth Man of the Year, Sixth Woman of the Year.
Well,
So yeah,
here's the money question, though. Here's the money question, though. Do South Carolina fans have to worry about Dawn Staley ever leaving? Obviously, I
no.
don't see her leaving for another college program, but do you ever see her maybe, going to the next level, coaching the WNBA? Maybe she gets bored from all the success that she's having at the college level and wants to go test the water. Has she coached at the WNBA or no?
I mean, yeah, I think she
I don't
might
know if
have.
she's ever coached there before, but
Well, I
yeah,
know
I mean,
she's done the Olympics and all that stuff. She got gold medals, and she done played at the University of Virginia, has won gold medals. I mean, coach won gold medals. I mean, she's phenomenal. But to answer your question, she ain't going nowhere, no time soon. I mean, what's your go? I mean, she's got what she wants here. She's an icon. They already got Aja Wilson statue out front. They're gonna have to put Aaliyah Boston. They're gonna do Dawn Staley Boulevard and Highway. I mean, this CLA sells out. We have been the leading in attendance in women's basketball probably the last 10 years since she's been here.
yeah, I
I
mean, they
mean,
win all the time. I'd hope
yeah,
so.
I mean, they get 12, 15,000 every home game. She called them the fams. I mean, she's changed the culture and the atmosphere. The boys need this so bad, the men's basketball team. I mean, Dawn said, people, listen, I love this about her Christian, because she speaks her mind. People may not like what she say. They hate on her, but she stayed true to the game. She stays true to the game. She's about women basketball. She wants it to grow, not just her program, but the entire college basketball program. She's about the WNBA, how they can grow the brand and get more notoriety and things like that. So she's a big, icon when it comes to women's sports in general, but for sure basketball. I mean, she's done an outstanding job. I have nothing but mad props and respect for Dawn Staley, for who she is, what she stands for. She ain't going nowhere because reality is the WNBA, this ain't like football. We're going to college football to the NFL, and no, she's got a great program. She can get things done here, and they can't pay her the money that South Carolina can pay her. The WNBA don't have that type of money. I mean, the basketball teams in the WNBA have to fly with regular folks on the airplane.
Yeah, that's
We
crazy.
have our own plane. We have fun. We got Blu-ray. We got spades going on in the back. We chilling, stretching out. We flying like that when we travel, college and definitely in the NFL. The WNBA got to get it. They got to go through. I hope they got what they call it,
TSA pre-check.
TSA pre-check. I mean, you got to,
That's messed up, man.
we pull up on the tarmac. We get on the plane. They don't pay no
Right.
check. You get checked. You go on the bus. You checked in, right?
I
You
mean,
have
I know they don't necessarily make the revenue necessary, but they got to figure something out. I mean, they shouldn't be flying. And maybe they. So you're telling me they? And I thought I heard this, but they fly commercial, like they just like
yeah. They
book
be on
regular
there with.
flights.
They be on there with.
I mean,
Hundred.
I hate that for them because I mean that's they
That,
deserve it, but it's
yeah,
tough when you don't make that revenue. That's my this is probably another debate for another day, but that's why it's hard. Like I do feel like they are more than deserving of increased pay, but the problem is where is that money going to come from? You just look at the attendance levels of the WNBA. I'm assuming the viewership on television is probably not the highest. So as much as we want and to do more for them, and as much as they deserve, it's just hard to come up with where those funds are going to come from, right? Versus you look at the NFL or the NBA. I mean, the viewership, the Super Bowl, the money they're making from their deals with these networks, apparel sales, ticket sales, you name it, it's just exponentially higher than the WNBA. So hope they can figure something out because I do feel bad for them. That's you shouldn't be a professional sports team, flying. I don't know. It's probably not even necessarily the safest thing. I mean, I feel like they probably need that kind of
I
security and that.
mean, I mean they need a private plane, but the owners of the NFL, these are billionaires, right? We fly. I mean, sometimes most of the time the coaches are up in first class, but a lot of times they let the players, some of the veteran players fly first class. I mean, we got, you know, 50 something players. I mean, the basketball team got what, 15? I mean,
Yeah,
I don't even understand why
that's what
these
I'm saying.
owners,
It shouldn't be as much for them to be able to fly
they
private.
should
That's
be
what
able
I'm
to
saying.
take
They don't.
a smaller plane and, less gas. I don't know. I mean, when I heard that, I was like, wow, they got to go through uh, TSA pre-check. I mean, come on, man, for a professional athlete. Bro, we pull a bus, we load the buses up, we get the police escort, we pull up on the tarmac, we get up on the flights, we up out of there, right? We get
Right.
ahead of all the other, probably the other plane. They put us in the front when it comes to taking off. So but you're right. They're not, the revenue's not there. I mean, jersey sales, ticket sales, all these other things. I mean, television.
It really is the
They don't
TV
have
deals
that.
is yeah, the TV deals is really what is the driving force for revenue, at least nowadays. I mean, you make a lot of money from ticket sales, but if we're being honest, it's really those. I mean, you look at the USFL, the reason they're able to stay afloat is not because their ticket sales, it's because they have a deal with Fox. Fox pours a lot into them financially. They're investing in them. They're paving the way financially. XFL has their TV deals, right? Now, granted, I don't know if you saw this, but did you see the St. Louis XFL stadium? I mean, they packed that thing out. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
mean,
if it's because The Rock has his influence on it. He's got all the followers. He's probably
they got
tweeting
money.
and posting.
They
They got
got
money
money.
too, 100%. Yeah,
I mean, if you Google who owns, well, don't the Raiders coach own the the Las Vegas Angel Wilson's team, the Aces?
I don't even know. I couldn't tell you.
I mean, if this man
If
owns
if he does, then he definitely got the money
let me
to
just look
put
right quick
them on the
because it's a
private.
shame
Yeah,
that man got all kind of money, and he making them
right.
tall girls, you know, Angel Wilson, the
Let me
Brittany
stop
Griner
laughing.
of the world get on, and they not flying first class. They in the back. I know how hard it is for me. I need like 2 seats. I mean,
Right.
these
Well, you
girls are
need 2 sets for length or width, man. I don't know. You're gonna
both,
put on some
both,
pounds.
both. I need from both. Let's see here.
uh, I'm just being silly, but no, if that is the owner, though, then yeah, he has no excuse. He has all the funds uh, necessary to get them flying private. That way, they're not just flying regular. But I
I
don't
mean, you
know.
put your
It's tough.
pro at. I mean, um, pro athletes in there with. I mean, so everybody want to talk to them. I mean, so I understood like with Brittany Griner. Think about that. With all the stuff that she
Well, I
went
don't think she
into.
can fly. I don't think she can fly. I think that's what they were saying. There's an issue because uh, there's like a rule where you can't fly private or something like that. But they're saying with her, I don't know if it was the government or whoever, but they basically said that they don't want to permit her to fly commercial because they said it's like a security risk or something after everything. I don't know. So there was a
Yeah, he
huge debate.
owns
We
it as
talked about
well.
it on the show. Yeah.
He
Oh,
owns
so
it.
he owns it. Well, now shame on him. He needs to get those girls a plane or at
Well,
least charter
he's saying
some.
that he's trying to find ways around the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement rules and provide his players the
Okay.
support. So
So,
he's
so the
trying.
rules prevented the rules. That's what I was about to say. We talked about on Big Noon Sports about when Brittany Griner, that situation was going on, how they had it was outside of their rules for her to like fly private, but she wasn't allowed to fly commercial after that whole situation that went down with her being imprisoned in Russia. I mean, I don't know. To me, that's kind of weird that they can't fly like that, but I don't know. I'm sure they'll figure
Well,
something
I'm
out.
sure. I mean, I know flying private costs a lot of money, but I mean, I just, I mean, I just don't understand. I mean, that professional athletes. And listen, if the NBA they're pushing this whole agenda, right, with more notoriety, more money, higher pay for these women, then why don't the NBA, who makes bazillion dollars, say, hey, you know
Kind of
what?
partner with
We'll
them, help them
supply
out.
the teams with the transportation that they need. That because the women are never going to have that kind of money. They're not going to get a major TV deal. I mean, let's just be honest with you. I mean, I just recently, since Dawn Staley became, I'm being honest with you, I wouldn't watch no WNBA game. I mean, I wouldn't watch college women's basketball. I'm just going to tell you the truth. It wasn't until years ago that I started buying into it. That it is funny. I'm like, man, these girls are
And that's the only, and realistically, let's call a spade is because South Carolina's winning, right? Now, South
well,
Carolina
that
won't
helped
win in the
winning.
women's
Everybody ain't
basketball.
gonna go watch no
No,
losing game.
dude,
I mean,
call
you gonna
man,
watch.
be
I mean,
real, man, be real.
I
If they
didn't
were
watch.
if they
I
were
didn't.
500, if they were 500, you wouldn't be watching the
You
women's
all
basketball
right?
team,
You're probably right. I might catch 1 or 2 games a year. But the
right?
thing is,
Yeah,
but that's the part of it. If you want fans to come, you better give them something to come for. Who come to watch a team that sucks? Nobody. I mean, football, any sports.
but
I
what
mean,
about this? What about this? And this is just food for thought. What if they adopted that high school model where the women's kind of play before the men? So say the WNBA
yeah, they
teams
can't do
partnered
that.
with the NBA teams, and then they played. They were like the
Mm.
pregame to the NBA game, almost like the high school model. I mean, the attendance probably would be there. That boost attendance. You can kind of throw them in on that TV deal. Maybe that help them out. I don't. I'm just trying to be innovative and think of things to kind of
That
help.
none
You
of that
know,
you saying is gonna work because
probably not, but they need to figure something out if they want to keep
well,
it alive.
they got to use the NBA and from a financial like Mark Davis is talking about that he can be able to do things for his team financially. That's going to give them the needs that they need. That makes any sense. Sounds like that's what he wants to do to be able to say, hey, I want to do this for my players. I want to fly them private. I want to give them more, pay them more money, whatever it may be. But he's saying It's the collective
He's
bargaining.
not permitted because of the
Yeah.
CBA. Yeah.
So I need to look more into that. What is the CBA for the WNBA? But listen, I remember looking at Adrian Wilson's salary. I mean,
Right.
but she's making like before she signed a new deal. I think she make about 200 now, 150. But she's making like
That's how
58
much she. Wait, that's how
thousand
much she
dollars.
makes right now, and she's like the number one women's
Yeah,
basketball player. Like, oh
just
wow,
started making that. She's making like 60 grand.
wow.
I mean,
And
she's
now she,
making like a
granted, she probably
USFL
makes a
player.
lot off endorsements. I'm sure she makes
Yeah,
a
I
lot
would
more off
think so.
endorsements.
Yeah,
But you're right. But for that to be her salary, and she's literally like the Tom Brady of their league. That's crazy.
yeah. I mean, even now if I look up her salary, I think she signed a 2 year.
It might be more than that. It might be more than that.
No, I bet you it's not more than 200. I bet you that. I mean, it's
Let's
just
see.
they don't have a lot of money there to pay the women. I mean, I know they talking about. I hear a lot of them say that they need to be on the same scale as the men.
Oh
I
yeah,
ain't,
she's
I
got a
ain't going that far.
base salary of 202,000 in
There you go.
2023. Wow. But I mean, again, yeah, and it does boil down to revenue, and unfortunately, it's just not there with them. And they just got to get creative. Yeah, I don't
They
know
need
that
to
to
be
me
paid more money.
the C they
Yeah.
do, but to me, you need to figure out that CBA because if the CBA is prohibiting them from flying a certain way or whatever, the CBA, in my opinion, is supposed to be in the player's favor, right? Like it's supposed to help the players
You would
out
think
get
so.
those advantages and get those
It don't
benefits.
help us out all the time. That's for sure.
It doesn't, but technically that's what it's designed for, to allow the players to have a voice and to come together collectively and to bargain with the owners and meet in the middle, right? But yeah, they need to figure something out. But anyway,
Yeah. I
any
mean, I don't know
any
how we
other
got it, but
no,
the game called women's
any
basketball today. Listen,
yeah.
it's like these girls that have a chance to either get drafted by the WNBA, right? Or if you can go back to play another year of college basketball. If I was giving instruction them or giving them, some help, mentoring, if if they're gonna make 50, $60,000, I'll be like, stay your tail at school. One, you still
Yeah,
got a
you could
street place
probably
to
make
live.
more NIL. Yeah.
NIL money you can make a lot more NIL than the WNBA women getting paid on average.
Wait, hold up. Speaking of that, let me catch you right there. Speaking of NIL, I don't know if you heard what Coach Saban was saying. At this point in NIL, he would rather college athletics just adopt the NFL model at this point, and just basically take a salary cap, implement a salary cap amongst college teams. That way, there's more parity because he's saying right now there's no cap, there's no limit, and it's not necessarily saying a limit on the NIL. He's saying in terms of you know, uh, schools aren't prohibited. Well, they technically are, but there's ways around it. Using NIL as a recruiting antic. But he's saying, hell, at this point, we might as well just adapt. The salary cap model from the NFL because that at least would establish some parity amongst teams. What are your thoughts on him saying that and what he feels like that? I mean, he kind of has a point. I mean, if you're going to let it go this far, you might as well take it the whole nine and basically have a salary, put some type of cap that way, you do provide some equality and parity amongst programs because right now there is none. It's basically the rich are getting richer, and I know we always talk about NIL, but I thought those comments were interesting that he basically said, "Hey, we might as well have a salary cap at this point."
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I definitely would not have a problem with it because it would even the playing field for everybody. Um, but still, people are gonna find a way to get around and cheat. And I mean, I don't know. They had a
They
chance.
don't in the NFL though, right? I mean, well, I guess
I know,
there's
but
ways they can
I
cut
mean,
down on that. They restructure these
but in the
contracts.
NFL, you don't have boosters and all that foolishness, right? So, I mean,
Yeah,
this guy. I mean, look, I don't know how they're gonna do it. I knew that they had an opportunity. NCAA had an opportunity to just say, "Hey, we're making all of this television revenue, all of this money." Every school like the SEC, which South Carolina's on up, we're getting 20, $30 million, whatever it was, something crazy, maybe more than that per school. So why, if you just said back then, hey, let's just give these kids, every scholarship athlete,
Designate a
a
certain amount.
full scholarship, and let's give them $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
Or just say, hey, we'll give you 250,000, 300,000 for 5 years. You got to graduate. You got to graduate. So what we'll do is give you 25,000 or whatever it is, and then we're gonna put the other 50 in something else. And if you graduate, like a trust, whatever, that money will be moved over to you. Every kid would have took that and ran with it. Every kid.
Well, that's
But
kind of what they're doing right now with these, what do they call these programs? These
collectives.
collectives. That's basically what they're doing with these collectives. They have a set amount each guy gets, but I've learned this, and I don't know if it's true everywhere, but I'm almost positive they also have incentives for these guys. Like if they're named like all SEC and whatnot, they get some money, or if they make playoffs. I don't know if what I heard was true or not, but I think they're even doing stuff like that. I also heard they're starting to find guys like, so if a guy, when I was in school, it was like if we missed class and we didn't show up, we had a point system. You got 3 points, then you're designated to be punished in some type of manner, whether you got to go in the weight room and do some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, meeting with Coach Saban, a potential suspension. Yeah, we had a whole point system, but now I think these guys are getting fined. Because I think their check from their collective or whatnot. I think if they're using it as a discipline tool
How can they
nowadays. I
do
mean,
that
so
though?
I don't know. Again, and I
Because
could be wrong.
the
That's just what
collective,
I heard.
the
But
collective is separate. Like your school can't have anything to do with it. I mean,
hey,
unless the
I'm
collective
just
say,
telling you,
hey,
what I heard, man. But no, but not necessarily, because I mean, Alabama, they have that new Yay Alabama program, which actually is smart, and I talked about it on here. Now, the more I understand, it makes sense. It's not necessarily like making fans pay for the subscriptions to pay these athletes, but what it is it's so for instance, Alabama basketball, they won the SEC tournament. As soon as they won it, I even got a text message, I guess, because I'm an alumni, basically saying we're SEC basketball champs. Get your collective exclusive T-shirt, and all proceeds go to the or majority of the proceeds go to the student athletes. I actually think that's smart because I mean, it's they're going people are going to sell T-shirts one way or another, so why not sell it as a designated T-shirt or
yeah,
piece of apparel where the proceeds go
but the
to the
collective,
athletes? I think it's smart.
the collective, like South Carolina baseball, the collective has T-shirts printed, and all the money goes to the baseball team. So they do
Yeah,
things for the different sports to try to generate some revenue, and they'll divvy that up to the athletes per sport. So,
that's
like
smart.
the Alabama, it's the collective that's so not the school, but it's the collective because the school
Right,
cannot have anything to do with the collective. So the
right. Well,
collective,
I was told
yeah,
they're getting fined, man. I mean, again,
well,
maybe it's not the collective money, but it's probably their cost of attendance money then.
yeah. I mean,
Because
if you
if you live off campus, you get a couple thousand or whatever. Hey, I mean, it's fair. I mean, if you're gonna treat if these guys gonna get paid like professionals, hell, discipline them like professionals. Shit, if you're late for a meeting in the NFL, shit,
I find
that's $2,500. Like,
it.
I mean,
Mm.
it's part
Yeah,
of it.
I mean, I have no problem with it. Do what they got to do.
Do what you
Well,
gotta
we
do.
get
You got
close to an
any?
hour, but yeah,
Yeah, I was about to say,
um,
you got anything you want to hit on before we get out of
no, I'm back at these women WNBA contract. I mean,
there?
like Destiny Henderson, she played here. I mean, she makes 64,000, six fifty
Mm.
seven. But if I look at her Instagram, I think she makes 600,000. I mean, she got
Well,
the
I mean,
gold,
again,
she got gold grills and these
right,
flat. But I'm
but
sure
you
they're
got to.
making money.
I was about to
I'm
say you
sure.
got to remember endorsement money as well. I mean, and
And they play
also,
overseas. They make
well,
more
and it
money overseas. That's why them girls.
100%.
That's why Brittany Griner goes to Russia because
Right.
some of them make $1 million overseas.
Oh yeah, they're
That's
making
why.
probably 5 times as much as what they make over here, if not
Yeah,
more. But you also got to remember too, though, what you see on Instagram half the time is a facade. People try to post their highlight reels on Instagram. I know a lot of people. You look on their Instagram, you think they got $1 million, in assets, or $1 million in the bank. And these people live
Candace Parker
paycheck
make a hundred
paycheck to
thousand a month.
paycheck.
Candace Parker makes 100,000.
Mm. again, but her name is going to drive up so much
But she
more,
makes so much
revenue.
endorsement, then TV and all that
Yeah,
stuff she does. But
right.
I know, but still, I'm just saying, Brittany
You're right.
Griner
No,
makes
it's substantially lower than it
she
should be,
makes 165.
professional athlete.
Brittany Griner makes 165,000. AJ Wilson,
Now
202. The
look up what
highest.
she made overseas, though. Let's see what she made overseas, though.
Diana Taurasi makes 234. Jewel Lord makes 234. Enrique Scholar, they all makes 230. They're the highest paid. Elena Deladon makes 234. Asia Wilson is down a bunch. So she's the 14th highest paid player at 202.
Wow.
I don't know how you're gonna find what they made up, but I heard that they made like at least $500,000 or more
Well,
overseas.
I mean, it says right here, Griner signed with the Zhejiang Golden Bulls. I don't know who that is or where that is, but receiving $600,000 for her services.
There
I
you go.
think that's in China. Yeah, I think that was in China. It looks like she made $1 million somewhere else. Yeah, I mean, yes, I mean, again, they're making probably 4 or
Yeah,
5
they
times
made the
what they
money
would make.
overseas, but it's
Yeah,
only a select few of them. They want the big names that's going to
yeah,
bring
100%.
a lot. So yeah, so some of them have a chance to make some good 7-figure money over. But I mean, still, they got to find out a way to boost up their salary. I mean, Stephen Curry makes 48 million. He probably, I mean, LeBron
Hell,
James.
why don't the NBA players just donate? They started collecting for the WNBA, right? I mean,
Yeah, but they'll do a commercial or wear a T-shirt. They ain't giving up no money.
no, they ain't gonna give up money. But I mean,
They'll
shoot, if you
support
make,
the WNBA, but we ain't giving you no money.
there might be a couple generous people. I mean, maybe they could write it off on their taxes. Maybe they could, again, like shoot, Steph makes you said almost 50 million a year. Is that what you said? 40
Oh
something.
yeah, no, they 200, $300
Yeah, I
million
mean,
dollars endorsement.
well,
He's gonna be a billionaire pretty soon, like LeBron James. So I mean, but
oh,
again,
matter of fact, I got one last thing real quick. Ja Morant.
and I'm glad to get some help. I'll just say that. I'm glad to get whatever help that is. But
That's what but like
that picture
realistically,
that
I
was
mean,
floating out.
what is the I mean, unless there's an underlying issue, like maybe I heard maybe he's dealing with the alcohol issue, but I mean, when you say help, I mean, it's really just kind of I hate to even say a maturity thing. It is a maturity thing, but at the same time, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. You think he's the only athlete spending thousands of dollars in a strip club? I know for damn sure he's not. I think the biggest issue is the the lack of sense in terms of brandishing the firearm on the internet, right? Like, you, there's nothing wrong with him owning a firearm, but brandishing it online, like, you know what I mean,
Nah,
or like the
nah.
reports of him, like, threatening people in the mall. Like, you got to have the sense of not putting yourself in a position like that. Like, why go? That's why I don't understand. People just move different. Again, that's the world we live in. People just they seek attention and validation from everybody else. Like, why are you going on Instagram Live in strip club? Number one, it's not even permitted. Like, can't even have phones out like that. Not that I would know anything about that. I don't really do anything. But
Obviously, you
I've
can
been
have
there a
a
couple
phone.
times. No, you
Yeah,
can't.
but
That's what I'm saying. Like, so, like, I mean, why are you on Instagram Live, let alone showing a handgun? But
I
my
mean,
biggest thing is,
he had all
uh,
that money on the floor, the tens of thousands of dollars just on the floor.
they said it was $50,000. That to me, like, man, I couldn't even wrap my
Fifty
head
thousand
around that.
dollars on the floor to a
That's
stripper,
crazy.
and then you over got, and then I saw the picture, and and you got chicken wings on the plate. So yeah, I was paying $50,000. You better have me some tomahawk steak.
Sometimes the food, yeah.
Lord help me, forgive me. I mean, I
I'm
was
just
like,
saying.
all that $50,000 on the floor with chicken wings. Come on, man. It's like
But not that I've never had. I don't think I've ever had when he was in an establishment like that. But I'm saying I've heard a couple places are known for their food, specifically wings. I've heard of guys going to some strip clubs for the wings. I'm serious.
well,
I'm
listen, man.
serious.
We all like
So I
sheep
mean,
on the straight. We all have sin and fallen short of the glory. All I'm just saying, the young man, You got your boys hanging around. You still rolling like that. Showing a gun, a piece out of strip. I mean, all this is just the image. I know there's nothing wrong with carrying a gun, but then there's a problem though. You on a business trip. You on with the team. One, I know with NFL, NBA, you cannot have firearms on those properties. How did you get the gun there? Again, we just talked about
Right.
teams.
Well, he snitched on himself. He basically he's like them rappers that they do
Well, I
something and
mean,
they're rapping about it. Like
yeah,
that's basically what he did. I mean, like you snitched on yourself, brandishing the gun on there like that. I think I think it's just a maturity thing, man. You just got to
it
grow
is.
up.
Dude's young, but he's getting his contract, getting ready to kick in. He's getting ready to make over 200 something $1 million. You got all this big time, deals on the table as well from a marketing standpoint. Come on, man. I mean, you got to get
Not
some
to
dude.
mention, I mean, this dude is like one of the best up and coming
No, he's
players in the
amazing.
league.
He's an
Like,
amazing basketball
yeah,
player. He came from Murray State and around the Sumter area in South Carolina. I mean, you have to mature. Like you're spending $50,000 throwing money on the floor like it's nothing. We got people in this world starving. You got people that are struggling, and you're throwing $50 million or $50,000, excuse me. You know, in an
which that's just what
establishment.
that's
And
what the report said, and
I
the
don't
the
know,
thing that
whatever it
came
is. If
from the
it's
owner.
not
But I know, but
it's
I'm just saying,
stupid.
like,
It's
that's to
stupid.
me,
It's
that's
stupid.
crazy. Fifty
It's
thousand dollars
stupid.
crazy.
And that's what happens. It's going to happen down the road and bad decision. And we get 30 for 30s and we see all this stuff. I mean, we all have been there to a certain level to doing stupid things as a young person, as a young man. I get all that.
Right,
I'm not beating the kid up for that. But he's at a whole different level now with fame and money that somebody got to get a hold of him. If it's drinking problem, it's partying problem, he needs help there. Or he needs, help somebody get his mind. You got to change your mindset. If you don't change your
right,
mindset, you could take a kid out of hood, out of poverty, out of bad situation, and he gets to a place where he dreamt of always being in the NBA and making money and wearing all these clothes and designer clothes
right,
and but if you don't change your mindset when after leaving that place, you're gonna still have that same problem, and you're gonna make
right.
a horrible decision, and you're gonna miss the blessing that's out there for you. So I'm hoping that he sees this. You don't need to be a thug. Listen, you should have security. You should
Well,
have security. You
he
should
just
have
checked
people.
into.
Yeah, but then if you run in the right and do the right things in the right place, you don't even need all that stuff. You know,
Yeah.
come
Well,
on,
he
man.
checked
I mean,
into a counseling program. At least today it was reported that he just checked into a
yeah.
counseling program. So
I pray for
there's no timetable for his return. So he'll be down
I
there.
pray
But
for the dude. I really do. I pray that God will change his heart and his mind, get rid of that mindset. I mean, yeah, you got your boys, your friends. I get all of that. But man, if they're not telling you the right things, they're not encouraging you and pushing you to be better, not just on the
right,
basketball court, but in life, then you don't need those types of friends. I mean, but you in here with your
right,
shirt off and drunk and with a gun and there's reported $50,000 with a woman all in your face. I mean, come on, man. One day you're gonna wish you had that. I mean, and like you'll realize
100%.
how stupid you were, how stupid you were to go into a stank place and throw money all on the floor and eat some stupid chicken wings that you can get for $17. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, come on, bro. You got to do better than that. But kudos to him for saying, "Hey, I got a problem, and this is affecting my career. It's going to affect this $250 million that I got coming to me. You better get some help because the NBA will get rid of you, and they'll look for the next job around. So you're not as big.
I don't know. They're gonna get rid of him that quick. That was man. The
Listen,
way he
you're not
played,
big. You're not bigger than this multi-billion-dollar company. You don't
no,
care how good you
100%,
think you are. They'll find somebody
100%.
that league gonna continue on. They'll leave you behind. Promise. They done it time again, over and over again. So you're not bigger than that brand. So and these marketing folks, you have with guns and money, pictures of you floating around, they ain't gonna want to sign you to no $100 million Nike deal or you going around doing some good things, this basketball court thing that you're doing in bad neighborhoods, important. Like keep doing those things, but stay out that spotlight. Why are you on Instagram? I mean, it's just stupid to me. Yeah, like you're
Well, so
12.
I think that's just the biggest thing. Like I said, as an athlete, you just got to call a spade a spade. Like The
No,
problem is
that
he's
doesn't.
literally going online. I'm not saying he definitely needs
Hmm.
to change his ways and change the ways he's moving. Because you are the company you keep, and obviously the company he's keeping. I mean, because the whole incident about them like flashing a laser at the staff or an opposing team, like to me that's wild, right? Like you're just way too reckless. You gotta
Yeah.
clean up your act. I'm saying because I mean you're just asking for trouble, even if it's not just discipline trouble. Like to me, like you're kind of putting yourself in that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying you're putting a target on your
Uh-huh.
back, but you know what I mean. Like you just don't want to. I don't know, but at the same time, he's not the first. He's not the only person to be quote unquote living a lifestyle like that. Like again, like as an athlete, we all know a lot of guys go to these clubs. A lot of guys have fun. They're just not on Instagram live, right? Like I mean, that's I don't
Normally you worried
understand, man.
about. Normally you worry about some idiot filming your
Recording
video.
you, right? 100%, but you're
Man,
recording yourself. Like
you do this. You do this to yourself. I mean, this is like, hey,
that's
I'm making it rain up in here. I mean,
like, come like, right? That's what I'm saying. But that's the generation we live in, man. Like everybody wants to be seen. Doesn't matter like how much money you got. These people still want. They seek that validation and attention. Like again, why else would he go on Instagram Live? It's to show off. Hey, look at me. Look what I'm doing. Look where I'm at. Like
yeah.
who does that, man? Like
I just paid $50,000 for some chicken wings.
some chicken wings and cheeks. Like
Oh Jesus, Father help him.
hey, I
I
mean,
mean,
it
yeah, I
is
don't know.
what it is.
It's but maybe this is the wake up call he needs, and he'll get himself out of
I
these
hope
situations.
so.
He deleted. I heard he deleted his accounts and all of that. But so hopefully he use that platform to be a blessing, and use that platform to help other young kids who came from tough neighborhoods and situations like you did, and tell them the message how you can make it, how you can continue, how you can be successful, how you don't have to allow your. I tell kids all the time in school, don't let your environment define who you are. Don't let the atmosphere that you was brought up in. They don't have to define you. Be different. I mean, it's
Right.
like he needs to understand that. Yeah, listen, bro. You made it out. You didn't get recruited by no big schools. You went the hard way, and now you one of the top 10 stars in the NBA. I mean, you known worldwide, bro. And you from right outside of Sumter, South Carolina. Now you known worldwide, and you out here doing some foolishness like this. But hopefully this is the lesson learned, and got alcohol problems or whatever, they'll address it, and hopefully and they got a young team, so hopefully they'll get some veteran dudes around them to kind of put his arm around and help them and hold them accountable to things like that. When you're on these road trips, so they stay business and that type of thing. So, yeah, it's just a tough one. We'll see how Memphis moves forward with John Morant. No doubt, he's one of the best players in the league, most dynamic.
Yeah.
But you got to stay out those places, man.
Got to. Well, shoot, we're about out of time, but we definitely we'll be back on schedule. It's one of those things. Like I said, I've been tied up with all this moving I got going on, trying to get some just a schedule, some routine, and finally kind of back to that. So glad to be back on here. It's been a minute, and definitely looking forward to doing it
Yeah,
again
we'll
next
talk
week
more
on
about.
Miller's Edge Monday.
Yeah, we'll talk more. Spring ball's getting kicked off. Alabama. Quarterback. Everybody's gonna be watching that quarterback position, and the coordinator Tommy Rees, who's the highest paid OC in the country. So we'll see who's gonna.
Almost $2 million. That ain't a bad gig right now. He's a young dude too.
Ain't mad at him.
He's gonna have a lot of expectations, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, so we'll be watching Jalen Milroe, the quarterback battle out of Alabama. Jay Beamer and the boys getting ready to get to work here at South Carolina. Can they continue to build? And they got some new guys coming in, so Rattler returning back. We got Pro Day in Alabama coming up. Bryce Young hasn't thrown yet, so we'll be looking at that. And a lot more other stuff, man, to get into.
Sounds
good. I'm trying to walk by. She don't want to make her.
No, I'm looking at that.
She don't want to make
good.
her appearance.
No, you're good. Appreciate everybody tuning into Miller's Heads. We'll see you guys next week.
If you're looking at that.
That was good.
That's from Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's.
That ain't keto though. That ain't keto though. You put that
Nah, it's
down.
sugar free. It's sugar free.
All right.
Yes. You mind. All right.
All right. Peace.